when I was 35 years old, somebody asked me how old I was. And when I answered the question, they hit me in the gut with saying, "Oh, so you have like 40 summers left." And I was like, what? Every single day that you put off doing something that you want to do, should do, could do is probably a lost opportunity that you will never, ever get back.
Hey everyone, I'm so excited to welcome you to the Pivot to Profit podcast. Our guest today is Shane Mahoney. He is a luxury lifestyle specialist who saves his clients countless hours and stress by planning private luxury vacations worldwide. I have to say I'm actually a client of Shane's and his magic, so I appreciate that. But before we dive in, look, if you're a business owner and you need help to understand your financials, that's exactly why I started my business, Pivot Business Group. We're a financial strategy firm helping business owners know their numbers, increase their profit, reduce their taxes, and grow their wealth. We specialize in bookkeeping, fractional CFO services, tax strategy, tax filing, and helping companies doing $500,000 and above understand their numbers. Just go to pamjordan.com to book a call with my team. Shane, I am so pumped that you are here. We are not only friends, but clients. So I can't wait to hear about your profit story. Thanks for being here. I want to start at the beginning, man. Tell me about when you were a kid. What did you want to be when you grew up?
I love that you teased this question, and I was like, I'm nowhere near on path that I thought I would be when I was a kid. Absolutely a wild child. I had absolutely no plan. I think about this a lot. I think there's maybe a lot of people that are sold to like graduate with good grades from high school so that you can get into a good college, so that you can, get a good career. And it's like, get a good career doing what? When I picked my major in college in my freshman year, I chose mechanical engineering because, and I kid you not, I liked playing with Legos as a kid, and I had no idea what there was out there. And so that dream lasted, a little less than a semester. And, and I would say that I probably wasted entirely too many years not really knowing what I wanted to do and sort of doing the next thing that made me money. I'm incredibly grateful that I was able to find something that I genuinely love. And the path that it took me on there's no chart for that. It's just, I threw darts and eventually I hit a bullseye, and I've liked it ever since.
What is the day that you woke up and figured out that luxury travel was it?
It was literally one phone call one day when I was 34 years old. I had spent 12 years in sales and finance jobs. I had been, by all measures, successful. I had two houses, two cars, and a boat, and all the stuff, right? But I realized I didn't have the life I wanted. And so my path was ready to burn it all. I was 3 weeks legitimately away from selling everything I owned, moving to France, and then trying to get a job at a ski school. And I figured, what the hell? Like, I like to ski. Let me see what it's like to be a ski instructor. And no experience. I live in Florida. I have not skied, like a whole season anywhere ever. So obviously this was an atrocious plan. But when you chase a passion, I think the world tends to open up for you.
So tell me about the phone call. What happened on the phone call that was
so my mom saw this article for a guy who owned a 20-year real estate agency in Colorado. He sold everything. He moved to France and he started a ski school. So I thought, perfect. Let me write this guy a super long email about how I'm in exactly the same part of my life that he must have been. And I'm sure he'll give me a job. And what he did is he gave me a 4-hour phone call the next day. And at the end of the phone call, he was just like, look, I don't think you should be a ski instructor. He's like, but you sound like you could be a tour operator. And to be perfectly honest, I had traveled the world multiple times around the world, but I never ever used a travel agent. And I sure as heck didn't know what a tour operator was. So I had to spend my 3 or 4 weeks, instead of selling my stuff, researching what this career might look like. At the end of that 3 or 4 weeks, I I literally just pushed all my chips in the middle and I said, I'm a tour operator now. This is plan A, B, and C. And I haven't looked back since. And it's been close to 13 and a half years, almost 14 years from now.
Now, being 13 years in, how do you define a tour operator differently than you did back then?
Just for definitional purposes, a travel agent is a go-between between clients and tour operators. Tour operators operate at a higher level and are the companies that ultimately are planning everything you see, touch, taste, do, how you get there, where you get in, like all this stuff. When I started my business, what I really wanted to key in on being a tour operator was being able to deliver to the client exactly what they wanted. Because I noticed there was something in my industry where if you hire a travel agent, you presume that they work for you, right? Because that's like the relationship that people who hire Pivot, they want you to work for them, right? But what if they found out that you worked for the IRS and your job was to get the IRS the most money?
They would not be happy.
That is the equivalent in my business. So you go to a travel agent, you say, I want to go to Italy for 10 days. I want to go here, here, and here. And they say, okay. And they go and find tour operators that basically can service that. Tour operator A might give you exactly what you want, be perfect for you, but pays a 10% commission. Tour operator B might be 85% of what you want, but pays a 12% or a 15% commission. Who in their right mind thinks that they're even going to hear about option A? Nobody.
Yeah.
It's not happening because you don't pay the travel agent. They get paid by how much they can make. And so I felt like that was an off-kilter relationship. And I wanted to be able to deliver to my clients precisely what they wanted and give them the most value for what they needed to have.
And thus, Lugos Travel was born.
Yeah, so Lugos was the ancient god of all arts and the protector of all travelers. And it was actually a French god. And so my mother is from Paris, and I thought it's a little nod to my heritage. And it's my reinforced statement of safety for American travelers to be able to have a good experience without being in danger.
I love that. I love that. So you started the business to be a tour operator. And I also appreciate you sharing how you had all of these things that should have been making you happy, but they weren't because it wasn't in alignment with who you are. So then once you started, you were doing what you loved. When was the moment that you were like, oh, I think I can do this?
Loved that question too. It was immediate. So as soon as I put it out there that I was a tour operator, a friend of mine, I would say a friend, and almost an acquaintance, a guy I grew up with and hadn't spoken to for like 15 years since graduating high school, came out of the blue and said, hey, I want you to plan my wife and I's 10-year anniversary. And I had no idea like what profit margin to try to make, like nothing. I'm sure that I lost money on the deal because I spent every penny that they paid and then some to make sure that they're like just chef's kiss, like amazing. And it was, and they're still clients today.
On that first one, you were all in. At what point in your business did you wake up and realize, oh crap, like numbers matter? What did that look like for you?
That took a long time.
I love the honesty. Thank you.
That took a while. You know, I have been very guilty of wanting things to grow fast, fast, fast. And so I have overspent in lots of areas throughout the decade plus that we've been doing business to be able to chase that goal on the hope, on the mere dream that the business would catch up and do it. And I would be lying if I said that it was always easy or like perfect. It has been a struggle, but I wrote too many checks that my stuff couldn't cash. So I started to be like, I met you, I think it was 2018. And I would say like, that was probably the first moment that I was like, what would this be like if I actually put some money in my own pocket and still service the customer well?
Love it. I love it. So now that you were like, maybe this business should not only create amazing travel experiences for my clients, but also like sustain life for me, myself and my son, and build something that's profitable. Like, what does life look like now that you realize I maybe should be making money at this?
I feel like I'm a lot more measured. I still have a little tinge of that, but I'm sticking a lot more to the budget and trying to make sure that I don't just chase after everything that might work. A little quicker to stop doing something that isn't working. So it is a process, and I hope that I'm doing well. You would probably know better than I would how I'm doing because I'm probably so focused on experience and making sure that my clients are well taken care of that I would venture to say I'm like most people. I probably don't do the things that I hate doing to the detriment of myself and others. And the biggest lesson that I've learned and what I would like ridiculously pump up your organization is I have come to rely on people that I trust, experts in what they do, so that they can make sure that I'm not stepping in the doo-doo. And that has probably been the biggest way. Now I don't have to worry about it as much, and I don't lose sleep. I just keep in my lane and just pump up the money coming in.
So as an entrepreneur, it's about having a team that's taking care of those things so that you can focus on doing what you do well, which is amazing luxury travel experiences. And I loved how you said managing what people see, touch, taste, and do on their
Yeah.
travel experiences. Because that's not what a typical travel agent cares about. They're just like, what are your dates? What's your budget? Okay, yes, go here.
Our agency is so completely far apart from every other agency in the world that it's almost not even fair. I'll give you a great example, right? If you go to any other tour operator in the world, any of them worldwide, and you ask them for a tour, you are like nine other people who are going to ask them for a quote. And if you are the person who purchased your tour, just know that you spent all the money for the other nine people that didn't buy the tour. You paid for all of their proposals, all of them. And they're hundreds of dollars per person to get a proposal into somebody's hands. So you can be sure that every single company worldwide is pumping up inflating all of their pricing to make sure that they cover all the people that don't buy so that the people that do pay for it. I'm the only company in the world that has a cost of less than $1 to get a proposal into somebody's hands. I don't care how many you have, you can get as many as you want. It doesn't affect me at all. And it burns zero time of my company. So that alone means that our prices for private luxury tours are 50% of the top 6 competitors worldwide for the exact same tours in the exact same number of days in the exact same hotels, period.
Like, Shane, you actually do care about your numbers. Like what you just gave me was numbers driven.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Yeah,
And it's because of the process and the software that you've built.
we have the only system in the world that can get information to people without a lengthy phone call. And instead of waiting 3 days to 5 days to get one proposal, you can get any of over 75 in 20 countries in under 10 minutes. As a matter of fact, last month, we broke a record that I'm 100% sure is a worldwide record for any private tour, start to finish. We started with a customer that had never heard of us and had a completely planned, like ready to go $23,000 tour in 47 minutes. No company on the planet can do it in less than 3 days.
Wow. And where was that tour to? Where were they looking to go to?
He's going to Sicily. We call it our White Lotus tour.
I did watch that series. It was good.
It's super good.
But also, like, I want to give you a pat on the back. Like, you are focusing on your numbers. You've created systems and processes so that you can get quotes into your clients' hands fast and have a huge impact of what they see, taste, touch, and do without a huge expense coming out of your pocket, like the other travel agents out there.
At the end of the day, you have to face a very stark reality. Most people want a vacation to be able to have less stress. And if you have to enter into a lengthy process that at every single other company takes usually about 3 weeks from start to finish, if you have to like see what hotels and do these reviews and do all this, if you have to do any of that work, then what you've really, in essence, done is added a second or third job to your job description that you never wanted to have just so that you could have an experience. And what I focused in on more than anything else is people have stress that they know and stress that they don't want. The stress that they know is their job and their family, and they're cool with that. Like that's great stress, right? Like, is my kid getting to bed on time? Are they doing their homework? Am I spending enough time with my spouse or my, significant other? Like that's good stress. You don't want to add stress of like, where should we go? How long should we go there? Where should we stay? What should we do? Like all of that stress happens in most American families around starting the process around 9 p.m., 10 p.m. at night when the kids have gone to bed. And you're bringing the lowest energy that you have to one of the areas of life that you're going to put the most memories into for your entire life. And that's just not the way to do it. So everything we do is to be able to lessen the stress of our clients and to be able to create a better experience. So, when I say 47 minutes, like honestly, you could do that with any of our tours. But the truth is, if you do it in an afternoon, it's not that stressful.
Yeah, that's true. Because as you know, I'm a parent, 3 kids. If we're going to go somewhere and I'm going to try to do it on my own, it's pulling up my phone or my laptop at the end of the day to try and figure out how can I get where I want to go. And that's where sending it to you and being like, dude, we want to do this. What can you make happen? And then I wake up the next morning and I've got a proposal. It's a whole different game.
You have it pretty much a couple minutes after you click the button.
Yeah, I love it. So you and I have talked a lot about your world travels. Share everyone your top city suggestion for a tired entrepreneur who is running ragged and wants to take a family trip versus a vacation with their spouse. And I use those words intentionally. So a family trip where there's kids involved and all that. What's your favorite recommendation? And what is me and my spouse are going to sit and just relax vacation? Give me those for me.
I'm gonna answer your question. I'm gonna tell you that when the planning is done for you and everything is set up and all your transfers are done, where you're gonna go, what you're gonna see and do, it does not matter where in the world you go as to whether you go with your family or just your spouse. It does not matter. It's easy to have a good time when everything is laid out for the family or otherwise. Okay. Our system just happens to allow, like, if your kids are older and they're going to stay back in the hotel room, it's easy to just go to a Michelin star dinner with just your spouse. It's a click of a button. If you want a whole family to do a cooking class, it's also just a click of the button. So it's really, really simple to be able to create an experience that's either for a couple or for a family anywhere in the world. But that being said, answer is who are you, right? Like, are you a beach person? Because honestly, you go to the Maldives. Could you go to the Maldives as a couple? Absolutely. It's one of the most romantic places on the planet. Could you go as a family? Absolutely. Because if your kids are younger, you can pawn them off on the butler, and the butler will entertain them all day while you scuba dive and hang out and chill out on the beach or in your private pool in the back of your house. They don't have to be anywhere around you until dinner. And then you guys have a family dinner and the kids go to bed. So that's a place where you can create that magic one of either way. We've taken our son to Italy when he was 4. We've taken him skiing last year in the French Alps. So honestly, pick a place. I think the thing that really messes most people up is waiting for some perfect setup to happen, right? It's like perfect time of year, perfect time off, perfect this, perfect that. Honestly, more than anything, as I've gotten older, I've thought about, I call it my 1840 rule. And so my 1840 rule came because when I was 35 years old, somebody asked me how old I was. And when I answered the question, they hit me in the gut with saying, "Oh, so you have like 40 summers left." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "You're not wrong, right? Statistically, I probably had 40 summers left at that time." And then the reality hit me that when I had my son, that you have really just 18 summers to solidify the relationship that you're going to have with your kids for the rest of your natural life. And so at the end of the day, every single day that you put off doing something that you want to do, should do, could do is probably a lost opportunity that you will never, ever get back. And that is what I see people doing more often than anything else. They don't hit these perfect timings and then they're like, "Well, we'll just do it next year." And what they really forget is that next year there's going to be a whole different set of non-perfect challenges that are going to come up. And then they're going to put it off another year. And I'll tell you this, I'll put a finer point on this. Okay. Last year, we had a client in his 70s who contacted me. He was a retired attorney and had planned in 1999 or maybe 2000 to go to England. He wanted to go to the Royal Courts of Justice. He wanted to check out, he wanted to meet a barrister from another country and have like an elevated experience. 26 years, he didn't do anything. He didn't go anywhere. He didn't do anything. And this dream that he had was like on its last legs. And thankfully,
Yeah.
we were able to do something about it, right? Because, but literally, like imagine spending a third of your life wishing you did something else. And that's what I
Yeah.
see more often than not, people doing that. And it's like, who cares where you go? Who cares what you do? Just go out there and get an experience because next year there's a chance to do another one.
And I always say that I can make more money. I can't make more time.
Yeah, you can't. You did you know this statistic also hit me in the gut? On the 18th year of your children's life, you will statistically spend more time with that year than you will for the rest of your natural life.
That hurts.
Yeah. So, what are you doing with your time is what I ask. Like, are you maximizing the amount of time that you have when you have it? Because once they leave the house, they have a job, they have a career, they have their own spouse, they have their own kids. It's so hard to line up schedules. And then, they have a kid and then that's your grandkid. And then you've got to be able to spend time with, it just does not stop. Life does not stop. And so I want to see people really go after it, take the time that you have when you have it. And here's the thing is, if this year you want to go to place A, but it's too much, then pick your budget and go to somewhere else. But don't pass on the opportunity to do something.
Yeah, do something. And you work with a lot of entrepreneurs. So how do you help them when they're talking about money and budgets for these trips? How do you make sure that you can find a plan that works for them?
Our flexibility is that you can take any of our tours on any day of the year and there's no difference in price. So when you get a proposal, you don't have to wonder how much is this going to cost for the dates that I want to go. I think that's a major thing in our industry. They do what I call from pricing, where, they're like from $5,000. They're like, that's a great price. We could do that. And then, of course, you give them the dates and they're like, "Oh, sir, there's no way we could do it for those dates at that price. Like, it's so much more." I wanted to cut all that crap out. So what we do is we just provide information. If you have $5,000 a person, I will tell you, you could go to Belgium for 8 days, and that's a phenomenal vacation. It's one of my favorite places on the planet. And you, your spouse, or you and your family can have an incredible time. If you have more, we'll change location. It's all good.
So where is the last trip that you took? Where did you go?
Peru. Yeah, the end of last year, went to Peru. We're going to France next month to go skiing. And actually, for the entrepreneurs out there who are interested, I'm doing a group trip, very different than my normal model, but a
Okay.
group trip. So we're going to limit it to 22 adults, and we are going to Japan October 10th through the 19th. So I've actually already sold 2 of the rooms, so I have 7 rooms left.
That's awesome. And so that's a group of entrepreneurs all going together to Japan in October.
Correct.
Will there be business education or is it just experience the country?
The focus is on experiencing the country. Magic is that business conversations will happen. So
Gotcha.
as I've done lots of these group trips with other entrepreneurs, what I found is you can't shut us up, and at dinner time, we're going to just start talking about business anyway. What I like about it is it's not a formalized mastermind speech driven, PowerPoint type presentation, but you also really get to know the people. When you spend a week in close proximity to people, it's very hard for them to keep up a real mask. When you see them, how they treat, hotel and restaurant staff, how they act around others, how they are when they're tired, how they are when they're, enjoying themselves, like how they are with their spouse. Like there are some things you just can't hide. And personally, I love getting to the heart of who people really are really quick. Because while I have infinite time for friends and people I care about, I have like none for people I think, don't deserve it. This is going to be a curated list. So I'm going with this group, and so is my wife. So if we don't like you, you're not invited. Having money, not enough. But if you are listening to this and you would like to have a good time, you definitely can reach out to me and let me know.
Awesome. So you are looking for fun entrepreneurs that are good humans to explore Japan together, and then business will happen and conversations will be had, because I agree. The relationships that you and I have built and with other business owners, that happens over dinner, that happens over a drink, that happens in the hotel lobby. Those experiences really build relationships. And I still do business with people that I met on trips or in a hotel lobby or at a restaurant somewhere.
Yeah, or karaoke.
I do. Yes, we have done karaoke. All right. So what's next for you? When it comes to your business, you've got this system of getting quotes out quick, really reasonable as far as timeline, reduce stress. What's next?
My goal in the next 5 to 8 years is going to be to reach. I'm going to reach a number in my head per year of repeatable sales that I'm not going to say out loud, and then I'll possibly consider selling. But right now, honestly, I'm having fun with it and building something that's really different than everybody else. Uh, and I really love the challenge of being able to put together something that, honestly, it's a bummer because I have to educate literally everybody, not just everybody who's a potential client, but everybody who's in my industry about what we do and how we do it. Because everything we do on a back end side, completely different.
Yeah.
So people are not used to being able to have these options and have them so quickly and be able to do that. And here's the thing is, for everybody who's listening, there's zero, you're not giving up any quality to go on one of my tours. Just because it's fast does not mean it sucks. On the good, fast, cheap triangle, I am good and fast.
Not cheap. I love it. I love it. So, what is a travel tip or piece of advice that you'd love to leave people with so that they can travel better?
Simplest thing, quit assuming that because your spouse likes to plan travel, that someone who doesn't do this all the time is going to do a good job. It's just so don't hire me because I just said this, but hire a professional regardless, because you will not be able to climb the mountain of information that took me over a decade and taught I had to teach my team. We Here's the thing, right? You don't know what you don't know, and you will never surmount that.
Yeah.
So we will save you time. We will save you money. You love numbers. I love numbers. Check this out. Like if somebody was like, Pam, I need to hire you for 8 hours, a week from now to discuss business. Like whatever that number is in your head for per hour, just imagine saving that on the 40 hours that it would take you to plan a trip the way we plan a trip for you. I mean, if the number is only 200 an hour, that's still an $8,000 savings.
Yeah. And my number's higher than that. So
I
that's a
know.
lot of money.
So that's the thing, right? Is it's like, what is your time worth? Where could you be spending your time better? I mean, if you could be out in the world giving better tax and bookkeeping advice and doing what you do so well, it's a no-brainer. Why would you spend even 1 minute deciding which 4-star hotel that's in the city center that has good ratings should you stay at when they're, $20 a night different? Like, you don't need to be doing that. And here's the thing is everything that we do is designed for you to spend zero time. Like we provide a fashion guide so that you know what to pack and what to wear, depending on where you go and what the weather is. We include a luggage scale so that your bag doesn't get too heavy. Adapters so that you don't have to go to Amazon and think, which adapter do I need to plug in my phone at night? That's done. How about a battery backup so that you can continue to take pictures at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when your phone's about to die?
Yeah.
Leather luggage tags so we don't lose your luggage. Basically, if you can show up at your front door when I tell you to be ready, we'll have a private driver to pick you up and take you to the airport, and everything else is done until you come right back to your front door.
I love it. I love it. It's a totally different experience. When I traveled with your team, like it was done. I showed up and we got to the place we were staying. And the next day, there was we had food in the fridge, and the driver showed up the right time the next day, and off we went. And it was fantastic. I love it.
Just
All
food
right.
in the fridge, Pam. You had gluten-free
Baked goods. It was
bakery
fantastic.
snacks that were from a thoroughly researched gluten-free baker delivered and put into your fridge. This is the thing, right? It's like how much you could have done that yourself, but what would that look like really? Like you'd get up and then drive 20 minutes into town and then hope the baker was open and then find your snacks and then drive 20 minutes back.
Yeah, it was a totally different experience. I rolled up and there was food in the fridge I could eat because I eat gluten-free, and you had me set. I was like, all right, we're in business. This is fantastic.
Exactly. So it's about solving problems that people really have and meeting them where they are as people, as opposed to assuming that they need to change who they are and what they do because they're going somewhere else.
Beautiful. Sound clip right there. Done. I love it. All right, let's wrap this up. I've got some rapid response questions, so you don't need to explain. You just need to answer. Are you ready?
Got it.
Which is most important to you right now, growth or profit?
Growth.
What's one business expense you'll never cut no matter what?
Quality.
What's the best money advice you've ever received?
It will always take twice as long and at least twice as much money as what you think it will.
I love it. What does financial freedom mean to you?
Not ever looking at my bank account and doing and living my life as I wish.
I love it. Well, Shay, thank you so much for sharing your profit story. This has been phenomenal. Super excited for this. Where can people find out more about you?
So I encourage everyone to look at lugostravel.com, Lugos travel.com. And if they want to have more information, access me, my calendar, or anything about our companies directly, you go to ShaneMahoney360.com. That's Shane Mahoney 360.com. For the entrepreneurs out there who are doing events, we have an event business that we help with the RFP process to be able to streamline and save you money in F&B and everything else that you're doing. But basically, if you're running a corporation and you want to do incentive travel, we put together incentive trips for your sales teams so that they can put together like really cool stuff like drive tanks, flying helicopters, golf trips, whatever it is that they're into, fly in dogfighting expeditions or drive 600 horsepower Baja trucks in the desert. Anything and everything that you might want to do that's logistically interesting or different, hit me up at ShaneMahoney360.com.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you so much for being on. That is all for today's episode of Pivot to Profit. If you listeners want to understand your numbers more, focus on your profit, reduce your taxes, simply go to PamJordan.com. And remember, it's not what you make, it's what you keep.